There is an information circulating out there that was published by some credible news organization that the African Union has actually suspended Cameroon's right in performing some functions over unpaid dues. According to the information, it says Cameroon is owing 2 billion of unpaid dues to the African Union, which is the money that part of the money African Union uses the dues money to actually run operations and to make sure that some businesses are taken care of, and that because of the fact that Cameroon has not been paying or has not paid its dues for over 2 years now, so they decided that they will suspend Cameroon from participating in major activities and also from talking during sessions at the level of the African Union. This is the best news ever. In fact, for this, I support President Paul Biya. For this, I support the government of Cameroon for not paying that money. The government of Cameroon, if actually it is true, I support you. Because the African Union is a total wastage of state revenue. It's a total wastage of state revenue. I just pray that the money which were not paid to African Union were actually duly used to develop Cameroon and to develop some infrastructures. 2 billion. What can we do with 2 billion? 2 billion can carry out a lot of developmental activities in Cameroon. If that money is paid to the African Union, what use has the African Union or is the African Union as far as the activities of Africa is concerned? Flights within Africa nations are still very, very much expensive. What then is the use of the African Union? The African Union cannot actually penalize undemocratically elected leaders who thwart constitution. When presidents thwart constitution, change the constitution, carry out a constitutional coup d'etat, the African Union cannot penalize them. In fact, the African Union is always first to wish them congratulations. Even when it is obvious that elections have been stolen, the African Union still go ahead to congratulate them. So what then is the use of the African Union? What then is the use of the African Union where intercontinental trade, where trade within the continental trade is difficult, where Cameroon cannot trade with Burkina Faso cannot easily trade with Cameroon? What then is the use of the African Union where there are barriers where for you to move from one African country to another, you need a visa in a place that they consider themselves as a union? What is the use of the union where if I have to go to Morocco, I need a visa? If I have to go to Gabon, I need a visa? Only thanks to some countries who have removed visa, who have implemented visa upon arrival. What then is the use where if I have to go, I have to go with a visa? What then? European Union, you don't need a visa. As long as you have the European Union passport, you are free to go. You have a phone number operate in any of the European nations. In Africa, if I move from Cameroon to Nigeria, few kilometers, I need a SIM card. I need a different mobile telephone network. I move from Nigeria, I enter Togo, different thing. Cameroon, I move from Cameroon, I enter Burkina Faso, I use a different currency. I leave from there, I enter Nigeria, a different currency. Currency. What then is the use of the African Union? Is a club where people can waste government money. So if it is indeed true that the president of Cameroon or the government of Cameroon, headed by President Paul Biya, has decided to cut away, not to give money to the African Union contribution, then I must say that is the most matured, sensible decision taken by Cameroon government, not to go and waste taxpayers' money. And I am calling on other African nations to do the same, because the African Union has lost its value, has lost the essence of its creation. The African Union cannot actually speak as a bloc. What then is the use of the African Union? So I'm calling on now my president, William Ruto of Kenya. Sawa, see me here. Habari yako? Wala, habari yako. Okay, listen to me, my president. Kenya should leave the African Union. Ghana should leave the African Union. What we need now is more trade. Nations should be signing their trade, their free trade, such that it can boost their economy, like how Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso have done. Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso have done. Kenya also is about to do the same thing. That should be the way forward. That should be the way forward. Not this caricature of the African Union. Again, 80% of funding from the African Union come from France. France is the one that determines. France is the one that determines. It comes from Europe and France. 80% of the money from the African Union come from Europe. And most also come from France. He would pay the piper, determine the tone. And you want to tell me what use is the African Union? When Israel has a seat in the African Union, when European Union has a seat in the African Union, in fact, if that decision is indeed true, taken by President Paul Biya, on this note, I stand with President Paul Biya. I stand. My President Ibrahim Traoré, Monsieur le Président, pardon. L'Union africaine, ce n'est pas un bon mouvement. Quittez là-bas. Tiani, pardon. Goïta, pardon. People should leave that African Union and form a regional blocks. We need a new bloc that will speak, will defend the people and fight the interests of their people.